Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Google Partners live stream. Well, today we're going to be talking about upsells, search and beyond. This live stream is going to be huge. So my name is Jessie Hochalter. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, nobody does live streams better than me. I'm on the sales strategy and enablement team at Google. And in my previous life, I've held roles ranging from digital specialist to digital ad ops director to multimedia advertising director in the newspaper space. I am from California originally and happy to be back. I'm coming at you actually from the Googleplex live today. And fun fact, I wear watches, but they don't ever work. I just set them to 5. So it's 5 o'clock, says Mickey right now. All right, let's get started. So today we're going to talk about upselling. And in order to do that, I first want to talk about potential vulnerabilities and then how to ID opportunities. Then I want to talk about upselling, search and beyond, starting the conversation, and of course, closing and next steps. Now, if you guys have questions throughout, please make sure to type those in and we'll leave room at the end. Okay, so why are we talking about upselling? Why are we talking about cross-selling? Well, 60 to 70%, right? Makes sense? That's the probability of selling to an existing customer. That's pretty high. And if we look at the probability of selling to a new prospect, that goes all the way down to 5 to 20%. So it doesn't take a genius to know that upselling and cross-selling is the way to go for that immediate in-quarter revenue opportunity. So I'm going to talk to you guys about some ways that we can do this. All right? But wait, why is there a dog on there? I don't know. There's no reason, so don't worry yourself about that. First, let's talk about the potential vulnerabilities, because we don't want to worry about upselling until we actually know that we're not going to churn our business. So the best reps, the best account managers, whoever's responsible for managing the account, looking for additional opportunities, play both defense and offense, like any good sports team. So if you're in one of these roles, then it's really important to make a habit of reviewing your accounts to identify potential opportunities ahead of time, being proactive. But you also want to be proactive by identifying those vulnerabilities and making sure that people aren't churning. Because if we don't plug those holes in the bucket, then filling it with more water isn't going to do us any good. So what are some potential vulnerabilities? Well, one could be low account performance. If the account's not doing well and you're seeing indicators like low click-through rate, not a lot of conversions, maybe placement's not good, meaning, it's not in the top positions, maybe analytics doesn't look great, like we're seeing, higher bounces, lower time on site. These could be an indication that there's a problem and this campaign is going to churn because it's not doing what it's supposed to do. All right. Now, even if the results look great on our end, there could be the problem of the disengaged or the uninformed customer. Okay, so everything looks great to you, but for this customer, potentially they don't really understand, they're not really interested in looking at the reports, they're not really focusing on the big picture. They're getting what I like to call data myopic. So maybe they're saying, you know what, the bounce rate is way too high. Bounce rate, bounce rate, bounce rate, and they're losing sight of what the campaign's actually supposed to be doing. So you want to make sure you have an eye out for these potential vulnerabilities, or else this could lead to churn and you could lose those accounts altogether. So just want to make sure that we have that caveat before we dig into actually identifying opportunities for upsell and cross-sell. So let's talk about that. All right, identifying the opportunity. Well, easy ways to do this within existing search campaigns would be maybe looking at the ad position. So the ad position, the order in which the ads is going to show up on the search engine results page. Now, this could be a huge opportunity to ask for additional budget, right? And let's kind of just run through a scenario. So situation, you have a client, you have a customer, their average ad position is less than 1. This becomes really important, especially for mobile, because the complication is if your average ad position is below 3 or 2 on mobile, because it takes up a lot of that top of the scroll on mobile, then you're likely not bidding enough. So you're not bidding enough per keyword, which means that your budget's probably not big enough. And here's the way to drive it home. 71% of consumers expect leading brands to be at the top of local search results. And the majority actually associate the prominence on the search engine results page with their prominence in the community and their performance overall. So the solution here is low average position. This is an opportunity to increase budget. So we can say, hey, we're not able to bid enough to get you in those really highly competing spots. So if we can increase your budget overall, then your performance is going to soar, right? So great opportunity for upsell by focusing on low ad position. Some other techniques we can use are using the keyword planner, for example. This is a great way to add some kind of numeric data to what you're trying to say. So if you look at search traffic volume, you can see here average monthly searches, and you can kind of see when do things ebb, when do they flow, when can you put some more budget towards something, when can we take advantage of seasonality. This is a really crucial story to tell, especially coming up to the holidays. You guys may have seen some live streams, some webinars on holiday trends. Google just released a big study on thinkwithgoogle.com. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But this can also help you convince your advertisers not to stop spending at the end of the year after the holidays. It's important to maintain that consistency because search volume, traffic is also consistent. It might drop a little bit, but you still need to be there for the people who are actively looking for what you have to offer. And you can dig a little bit further and even look at traffic per day. So there's lots of different ways you can manipulate this data to show them, hey, this is how much traffic per day we're seeing for these queries in this area. This is so important to you, and this is what you're missing out from. You're missing out with not doing this kind of stuff. Whatever that last sentence was, we can go ahead and edit that out, right? No, it's live? Okay, all right, okay. So traffic per day. So making sure that we're showing this is how many eligible queries are happening per day in your particular industry. And this is how many you could show up for. So this is a really good way to put a concrete number to the opportunity. Okay, so here's one of my favorite ways to talk about increasing budget. This is the, I want to call it a bait and switch because it's not really, but what it is if you're that trusted advisor for your client, meaning you're giving them opportunities to improve even if they're not benefiting you, shocking, right? But you're giving them different tidbits that maybe aren't making you any more money, but they're going to help their campaigns overall. If you do this, the positive result monetarily for you is going to come later. So for example, if you say, hey, I want to work on this optimization. It's not going to cost you anything. I just want to kind of take a little bit of this budget, move it over here, see what happens, see if this is good. Do this. This is a great time after you make that optimization to talk about budget for a couple reasons. One, they're trusting you because you just did something that was really helpful for their campaign. You're showing them that you're proactively going to be that trusted advisor. And two, you can let them know that either this was incredibly successful, so why not expand the campaign and expand the reach of this new optimization? And you can also talk about how after you optimize something, after there's a new strategy put in place, you need to kind of open things up, open the budget up so that the campaign has space to optimize, right? Give it space to run, like a dog in the park or something. So make sure that when you do any of those optimizations that are helping your client, that you're also asking for the upsell afterward. Okay, win, win, win. Do right by the client, the sales will come, I promise. Okay, now we're gonna get to my favorite stuff. So we talked about the vulnerabilities, we talked about the opportunities, but now I wanna talk about some of the meatier stuff regarding upselling, search, and beyond. So when we talk about upselling search, we're really talking about, just the regular upsell, asking for more budget within that product, right? When we're talking about cross-sell, we're talking about adding other different forms of advertising that might help strengthen the buy. So let's talk about this. First, just with upsell for search, impression share. Hugely, bigly important, you guys. Impression share is so crucial, okay? Impression share is nothing more than market share, nothing more than that. When you throw around the term impression share to your clients, they might, they're not going to really understand what you're talking about. If you guys didn't see that, it was me putting my hand over my head, like it went over my head, but I realize now it might be on the slide and you probably just heard me making weird noises, but trust me, it made sense. All right, I'm getting the thumbs up. So I was on camera at some point. So This is market share. So don't talk about it as impression share. Talk about it as market share. The number of impressions that you receive divided by the number of impressions you were eligible to receive. We can even make this simpler. So it's the percentage of time that your ad appeared in front of a customer who is looking for exactly what you have to offer. Okay, so there's the total available traffic. There's the amount of times you show up for that traffic that you're bidding on. So if I'm a dentist in Wichita, maybe I'm bidding a 10-mile radius around Wichita for dental-related keywords, and if my impression share is 50%, that means I'm showing up 50% of the time. I'm showing up half the time, for those of you who need some help with the math, half the time to people who are searching for exactly what I'm offering in that area, okay? Now, the missed potential customers or the impression share lost, this, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but I know you guys might have questions about impression share loss due to budget and loss due to rank. But essentially, either way, it all ties back to budget and how much you're spending. Because if you're losing impression share, you're not showing up because of rank, then this could mean that you're not bidding enough, so you're not ranking high enough to actually capture that traffic. So at the end of the day, it could have to do with quality score, but typically you can affect that quality score by increasing the budget and the bids overall. So that's all to say, keep it simple. Impression share is just the percentage of time you showed up for those queries that you care about. Okay, so let's think about it this way. If we were to, form an analogy here, which I love metaphors, I love analogies. The issue here is that let's say that your impression share is 30%. Okay, this means that your market share, the amount of times, the percentage of time you're showing up for those eligible searches is 30%. What does this mean? This means that your paid ads appear less than once per every 3 queries made for the terms that are relevant to you in the area you're bidding in. What's the impact? Well, Mr. Business Owner, this is like putting up a close sign for over 70% of the people who visit your business. So just paint this picture for them. Imagine that you have, your business is right there and you've got 10 people trying to come in. You let 3 in, you put up the close sign. People are knocking at the door trying to come in and you're saying, nope, I'm good. I'm not even here for you. Where are those other 7 people going to go? Next door to your competitor. So really important that you have high impression share. So by increasing the budget, you'll be able to increase your impression share, increase your market share, and capture more people, more interest in what you have to offer. So let's take a look at it based on what the impression share is. If your impression share is less than 30%, so you're showing up less than 30% of the time for those queries, then this is a big opportunity to drive more traffic without changing anything else. Essentially, this is just saying, hey, we need to increase the budget. So you don't need to look at adding new keywords. You don't need to look at expanding the geography. We just plain and simple need more budget for what we're trying to run. One thing I would highly recommend you guys do is if the impression share is lower than 30%, one thing that I've done before that tends to work really well is saying, look, if we want to get our impression share to something that's a little more acceptable, we're going to have to add, I don't know, $1,000 a month to the budget. Now, if you don't want to do that, totally get it, no problems, it's fine, but we're going to have to either decrease your radius or take away some of the product lines that we're actually bidding on. This in sales is called the power of the takeaway. And trust me, the clients do not like this. So they're going to find a way that, no, I need to keep that extra 10-mile radius. No, I need to keep this product line. So they're going to find the budget if the campaign is working well. Okay, and then if you're anywhere between 30 and 70, same kind of deal here. There's still room to increase the budget without changing anything else. It's not as significant as if it was less than 30, but there is still that room. You can still use the same tactics. Now, this is the interesting part, is when your impression share is actually quite good, which by quite good, I mean about 70% and above. Of course, you want to get as close to 100 as you can, but this is not going to be possible every time. There are other factors. Showing up 100% of the time is a bit tough, especially with all the different things that are happening. But we can look at driving more traffic by expanding the campaign. So there's lots of different ways we can do this. We can add missing keywords. We can look for additional products and services. We can look for seasonality or different trends. So basically, if the campaign's performing really well, we can talk about expanding that and making it perform even better or potentially reaching customers that we're not reaching right now. Okay, let's talk about how to do that. So that last column there, 70% or above. First thing to do, visit the customer's website. You should have done this a long time ago. You should be doing this very often, but this is a great opportunity to revisit what products and services are on the website but not in your AdWords campaign. Is the site mobile responsive? Is that an opportunity to talk about that? If the mobile site is great, maybe we want to increase MBids, mobile bids for specific keywords. Maybe we want to add a near me campaign. A near me campaign has been a great way in the past to increase budgets. And this is because this is a different campaign that is hyper local and focused on near me keywords. You guys know about the near me phenomenon. We've seen in the last several years a 34-fold increase in near me searches. Anything from coffee near me to dentist near me to, how do I get to Canada near me, whatever it might be. We're seeing huge increase in near me searches. So take advantage of that. We can also look at information on prices. So maybe there's some kind of a sale that we don't know about or some kind of an offer that we can give, right? So we might want to add this. So visit the customer's website. Another one, I know I've talked to you guys before about Google Trends and Google Tools on thinkwithgoogle.com. If you could not attend that session, go ahead to the partner site and you can get the pre-recorded version. It's quite good, if I do say so myself. It's probably the best live stream other than this one that's ever been done. It's really, really good. So use Google Trends. Use this by showing them, hey, look, there's an increase in a trend of this. Here you can see trucks. Maybe we're seeing an increase in truck traffic and a decrease in hybrid. So, hey, Mr. Car Dealership, I see that you're really advertising hybrids, but in fact, in this particular area, we're seeing an increase in the interest of trucks. So maybe we want to make sure that we are hitting that hard. So using this as a conversation starter and a way to kind of dip into other products. Now, my favorite, and I've said that a lot, but this might actually be my favorite, go for the cross-sell. We've talked about upsell. We've talked about how to add other, geographies or add other products or talk about impression share, within search. But if we look at other advertising channels, this is really, really going to be the way to hit that grand slam. Because the customer journey is increasingly complex, as we harp on all the time. So we search for something, yes, at the beginning of the journey, maybe a little bit more generic. Toward the end, maybe we're searching for things that are a little bit more specific. But throughout that process, we're doing things like, visiting different sites where we might see banner ads. We're looking at videos to help us decide more and more and more. We're looking at our emails. We're reading news articles, right? We have all of these different touch points, 10 to 11 on average for any purchase that we make. So utilize this. Make sure that you're touching people figuratively. You need their consent, but figuratively touch them throughout the buying process using these different, tactics. So let's do a thought experiment. If you guys know, if you've heard of any of my webinars or live streams or trainings before, you know that I was a philosophy major, so I love thought experiments. So let's do one right now. So let's pretend that our product is this yellow, we'll call it lip gloss because I'm not quite sure what it is, but we'll call it lip gloss. So this is our product on the side. It is far superior to any other lip balm or stick on the market. Our competitor's product is that trash on the side in pink. It's really nasty stuff. Okay, our product is far superior. So let's see what happens if we want to advertise our product. One, let's imagine that we have no branding advertising. So we're only doing search. We're only doing direct response advertising. So search, no display, no YouTube. We're only doing search. We're only there when people are actually looking for it. Let's see what happens. Remember, this is our competitor. Our competitor is showing up everywhere. They are on YouTube. They're on, mobile display ads. They're going to be there for remarketing. They're everywhere. They're doing a great job with branding. Okay, but we're doing really great with search. You can see we showed up twice somehow on the products page. But guess what? If they've never heard of us and they've heard of our competitor over and over again, we're not going to be top of mind. We're not going to have that surrogate trust with them. So what's going to happen is they're going to choose our competitor over us. Okay, so this is why it's important to make sure that we have other products and not just search. Now, just to be fair, let's do a second thought experiment and flip this situation around. So let's imagine, again, there's our highly superior product on the left there, and on the right is our competitor's product. And let's imagine that we have tons of branding, but no direct response. So maybe we're doing display in YouTube, we don't have search. Maybe we're doing newspaper with no search. Maybe we're doing billboards with no search. Just some form of branding, but we're not there when people are actually looking. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, there we are. Oh, look at that beautiful ad in YouTube. Look at this gorgeous mobile ads, and we're showing up all over the place when people are when it's top of mind. That's fantastic. But if we're at the point of purchase and we're not there, guess what? People now are more loyal to their needs in the moment than they are brands. So we cannot have one without the other. This is why making sure that you're there throughout the entire purchase funnel is so crucial. Okay, so just to recap, if we have that awareness, that's fantastic. We have great branding, that's great. But at the end of the day, if we're not there when people are in the thin market, when they're actually looking, we're probably going to lose that to someone who's there. Flip side, if we're not there during the awareness phase and we're not tapping people as they're moving through the process, then what's going to happen is they get there, they get ready to purchase, and they've never heard of us. So they're going to choose the person that they've heard of. So this is why it is so critical for our advertisers to make sure that they're advertising across the entire funnel using YouTube, display, mobile, search, shopping, remarketing, whatever makes sense for them. You're owned and operated if you come from traditional media. Might be TV, newspaper, radio, whatever it is. They need to be advertising across the funnel. This is how they're going to win. The great news is with our small businesses, we can do this more affordably because as you guys saw, I did performance display, again, another live stream you should check out. It's the best live stream I've ever done other than this one. I also did a YouTube one, which is also the best live stream I've ever done other than this one. You guys should check those out because it talks a lot about this and how we can target throughout the funnel. Hashtag hubris. Okay, go for the cross-sell. The reason for this, not only because it's going to be better for your advertiser, because they're going to be, hitting people at all stages and it's going to make the whole thing more effective, but it's going to be better for you too, because just like this beautiful bracelet, it might be a little bit hard to make, right? Intertwining the search, the display, the YouTube, all those different beautiful colors of rope there, or string, or whatever this is. But at the end of the day, when you put them together and you weave them in like this, you're going to have a stronger campaign overall, and it's going to be stickier, and they're not going to churn as easily. So go for the cross-sell. Okay, starting the conversation. So I've given you guys all these awesome tools, how you can, you can do this, but how do you actually start the conversation? What is the talk track? Well, let's see. This guy here, we'll call him Larry because he looks weirdly like my dad, which is my dad's name. I think I brought that up to you guys before, but yeah, that's definitely my dad in cartoon version, wearing the Google shirt that I got him last Christmas. Don't tell him I got it for free. Okay, proactive calls. So top performing reps, top performing AMs, they provide solutions and, to whatever the client needs, but the ones that are the top, the top of the top, the very A+ players, those are the ones who anticipate clients' needs, and those are the ones who are proactive. So let's talk about the proactive call. What is this kind of, what's happens with the proactive call? There you go, words, they're hard. Introduce yourself and the company. That's number one, of course. Okay, 2, make sure that you let them know why you're calling. Okay, makes sense so far, right? 3, this is super important. Seems easy, but we forget it. Why did you think of them? It's not just about you. It's not, hi, I'm this person. Hi, this is why I'm calling. This is why we're great. This is why you should buy from us. It's, why did you think of them? Why is it that they should care? And then ask questions to engage. Make sure that they're, you're actually having a conversation with them, and then you can go ahead and transition to the next steps. So seems really simple. We don't do this as often as we should. Let's look at a little example here. Okay, so intro, reason for call. Hey Gary, this is Name McNamerson with Company Inc. I'd like to take a few minutes to share a really interesting article that I found that featured mattress buying advice. And I'm talking to a mattress store, by the way. Why did I think of you? This article had interviews with doctors, chiropractors, discussing the benefits of certain mattresses and how using them can actually reduce pain felt with current back problems and minimize the risk of future back problems. Okay, so obviously I thought of them because this has to do with their industry. Questions to engage. What do you think about this article? Have you heard about this? Is this something that you've thought about, conveying to your clients before? And then next steps. Okay, great. Well, I would really love to send this over to you and talk about it next week. I think that we can look at ways we can leverage this to get more customers by aligning your online marketing message with minimizing back pain. And then maybe you can also look at Google Trends and take a look at what is back pain doing. Is there an increase in this? Increase in search trends for back pain. We see that, if we have messaging for our mattresses that show that we can reduce back pain, beautiful. This could be a really great way to have that proactive call. Again, this might not cost them any money, but it's your nice kind of in to be talking to them. The other kind of form of this, of the proactive call, is a repositioning example. Now, this is something, again, it is proactive. You share something, and then you are going to share this particular change, how you're responding, and then really important, how they're going to benefit. So you can use ETAs as a talking point. So expanded text ads. If you guys don't know a lot about ETAs, please check this out. This is the biggest change we've had at Google in terms of our ad formats. Really important. So an example here would be, okay, hey, Mr. Advertiser, this is Jesse from Google. I just wanted to let you know that the biggest change we've ever had in our advertising layout just happened, and this is expanded text ads. It's rolling out right now. I just wanted to let you know that we are responding to this in a proactive way. We are actually not just tacking on additional text. We're rewriting the campaign, making sure that it is incredibly pertinent to your potential audience. And so far, the clients that we've already worked with are benefiting from this by seeing click-through rates that are increased by about 20% on average. We're seeing conversions increase. It's just been great across the board. So tell me, your current provider, are they ready for expanded text ads? Have they talked to you about this at all? Right? Repositioning. Change how you're responding, how they would benefit, and then engage. Tip, talk about someone in their space. So if you're talking to a plumber, say, with the plumbers that we have, this is what we're doing. Those plumbers are seeing this increase. And then would that, what are you doing with this? Or have you heard about this or whatever? So make it as pertinent to them as possible. Okay, closing and next steps. All right, closing techniques. Closing techniques are not my first choice. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's not ABC. Just look at it. It's not. I'm not a fan. But closing is really important because thank you is not a close. Okay. We might get objections. I'm going to, in a future session, talk about objection handling. Love objection handling because there are some great talk tracks that you can use for these objections that come up all the time. But at the end of the day, how you handle the objection is going to be way more important than the actual objection itself. So we'll talk about that later on. But let's say you have this upsell. It's great. They love it. Now you just need to make sure that you can close them on it. So here are a couple examples. These aren't too salesy, so just want to make sure that you know that these are techniques you can use. One is alternate choice. So ask the client to choose one of two answers. Both are indicating a positive buying decision. So, for example, all right, we can get started with strategy A or B. Which one makes the most sense to start with? Or which region should we start with, northeast or central? We're going to, I know we're going to take this extra $500. Do we want to apply it to expanding this product line or this product line, right? So alternate choice, both of which are good. Only use this when they're showing strong buying signals. Same with assumptive. This one you probably do more often than you even know, but make sure that you are kind of leading people to the sale because they need this. Think about the last time you were in a store. You just need that little push because we have that fear of buyer's remorse. So assumptive. When the client has expressed a positive reaction and there are no strong objections, just assume they're going to buy. Okay? All right, this is going to have a great impact for you in achieving your objectives. Let's get started. I'm so glad we're able to come up with a solution that's going to help you drive immediate traffic. Is it cool if I send over the plan this afternoon? Right? So we're just being assumptive. This doesn't mean that we're being pushy. It just means that we're excited about it. We know it's going to work for them, and they need to feel that confidence in order to buy. Okay? Now, this might be the most important part. The upsell has been achieved. But now what? Okay? You've gone through this whole process. You've, proactively taken a look at their campaigns. You've taken a look at what's going on in the market. You've put together this great upsell plan, right? You achieved that upsell. You got the close. Now what? Follow up. Follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. Poor follow up could lead to reduction in spend or even a complete cancellation later. So you can get them totally bought on, but if you don't follow up correctly, then that work will be for naught. So ask yourself, did I set actionable next steps? So when I was there with the client, did I tell them what I was going to do? Did I tell them what I was going to follow up with? Did I tell them when I was going to follow up next? What did we agree upon? What does success look like? Okay, so it's great if you say, hey, we need to throw $500 more at this. What does it look like if that succeeds? Is it that the impression share jumps from 30% to 60%? Is it that they get more calls? Is it that their click-through rate increases? Make sure you agree on goals so you know what success looks like to set the right expectations. If you don't, the client will set those expectations in their own brains, and what's going to happen is that that's going to probably be way out of whack with reality. Now, then ask yourself when you follow up, did I deliver what I promised? And how do I prove that I did? How do I prove the value of this increased spend? Really, really important to follow up. This is a key to life right here. Do what you say you're going to do. Any job, big or small, do it well or not at all. That's my mantra. You guys can have that for free. Asterisk, Jesse. Okay. Before we get into questions, so everyone start typing your questions into the boxes there. Before we get there, I want to just kind of recap and talk about the key takeaways from this session. So 1, ID potential vulnerabilities. So again, we need to make sure that we're plugging the holes in the bucket before we start trying to add more water. So don't let things churn. Make sure that you're focusing on keeping current clients happy and you understand what the vulnerabilities are. Then if you're looking for the upsell opportunity, and again, upselling is so much easier. The probability of getting a sale from upselling is so much higher for existing customers than it is for new customers. So look at Google Trends, proactively engage. Look at their website. Look at potential search traffic with Keyword Planner. Look at cross-selling. So make sure that you have this really simple story using the buying funnel, using the customer journey to show why they need to be in other products. Beyond just search, beyond just your owned and operated, whatever it is, they need to have a cohesive mix. And make sure when you start the conversation, focus on the client. What's in it for them? How are they going to benefit? How are, players in their industry responding, and how are you focusing on that specifically? And then finally, in bold, all caps, follow up and do what you say you're going to do. And if you do this, I promise you the sales will come. So do the right thing. Do all of these things, and there you go. I just made your yearly bonus. So, how'd that get there? That's a picture of me at my last runway shoot. Must have snuck in. Did you guys do that? Oh, you're funny. Okay, Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and pop up my little Q&A screen here. See what you guys are after. Okay, let's see. We got a couple good ones here. Okay, so this one is about display specifically and upselling into that, and they're asking about how does display fit into the buying funnel given the fact that there's performance display and branding display. Okay, so that's a great question. So performance display and branding display, these are different types of display, and they fit differently within the buying funnel. So when we talk about cross-selling and we talk about direct response versus branding, that's very simplistic, okay? This is something that it's a very simplified way of looking at it. So yes, you can have display that is performance display and is actually going to be very bottom of the buying funnel. So if we're just doing remarketing for display and then search, that's still not going to have that branding element that's going to help touch people as they move through the journey. So I hope that answers the question. I hope that makes sense. But basically, we want to make sure we have display throughout the entire journey and we're not just bunching things toward the bottom of the buying funnel. But display, like YouTube, it can be very direct response or it can be very branding oriented. It just depends on the targeting, the message, all that good stuff. For more, again, you can visit the past live streams that we have done. Okay. All right. Okay, what else do we got here? This one is about impression share. It says, when I talk about impression share to my clients, they tend not to understand even when I talk about the sign in the door. Okay? All right, so let's go over impression share again, because I agree with you. This is a problem. So when we talk about impression share to our clients, even if we try to break it down in the most simplistic way possible, it still doesn't quite gel for them. Okay, so we can throw out the fancy analogies of it's like putting a closed sign on your door, but really what we can say is just if they don't understand impression share, it's probably for a couple different reasons. One, it might be because they just aren't educated in the space in general, so we need to take a step back. Two, it might be that we're using language that they're just not familiar with. So what I would say is make sure, first of all, that they understand paid search, okay? Paid search is basically you showing your message to people who are looking for your product or service at the exact moment that they're looking within a specified region. And they only click through, you only pay when they actually click through. So let's just make sure that's clear. Now, let's say you have a pie, and these are all the keywords you would love to show up for. Teeth whitening in Nashville, family dentist near me, right? These are all the searches you want to show up for. If your impression share is 50%, it means that 50% of the time for those really high quality searches, you're not showing up, okay? So try not to use words like rank, bid increases, quality score. Try not to use those words with your clients. So again, I hope I answered that question. All right. Someone's asking when the live stream for objection handling is going to happen. I know that one's going to be really good. There's no set date yet, but I promise you we will be back in 2017 with a lot more live streams, and I will make sure to include that on my list because objection handling is incredibly, incredibly important. Okay. Let's give it one more sec to see if any other ones pop up. Okay. Awesome. Well, I guess I answered all your questions very thoroughly. So great. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this Google Partners live stream. And we will see you again, same time, same place next week. So